Hello, and welcome back to Navigation, the Human Design Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon McAllister, and I am the creator behind the Rebel Soul Journey. If you are not already following me on social media, you can check me out on TikTok and Instagram at the Rebel Soul Journey. Today, we are going over gate one, the first of 64 gates. We'll be releasing a new gate over the next 64 weeks. If you want to dive even deeper over on Instagram, I'm going to have about 12 posts a week where we're going to really be diving into each gate, the gene keys, the channel, the center that gate lives in. You'll get a soul message for your energy type and so much more. It's going to be so yummy and delicious, and I just cannot wait to take you on this journey. And so we start today with gate one, which I like to call the creator. And the creator in the I Ching, this gate one in the I Ching is known as the creative. And in astrology, this gate is associated with Scorpio. And then in the gene keys, you move from entropy to freshness to then beauty. So I personally have gate one as my conscious sun. And if you're new to human design, each gate has a planet placement. I'm going to be hosting master classes each month to go over the placements. These are going to be free. So if you want to dive into those, we are going to have so much fun. We're going to pull up our charts, dive into your sun placement. You'll get access to a little list of all the gates, and then we'll literally go over different exercises, talk amongst ourselves on how these different energies play out in each of our placements. But back to gate one. So gate one for me is my conscious sun. So this is the brightest aspect of me. And this gate is in the individual circuit group. It's all about knowing. You just know. You just know that you have creative energy to use or you don't. And that's kind of goes back hand in hand with that gene key of moving from entropy to freshness to beauty. So the first part, like kind of the shadow side or the not self side of this gate energy, is feeling entropy, feeling numbness, feeling disassociated from your body. And if you listen to my first episode of navigation, I went over my journey and how at the beginning of my journey in 2019, my self-discovery spiritual awakening journey, I was feeling entropy, numbness. I was disassociated. And I just didn't have the energy, that vital life force energy running through me. And one of the keys to entropy is first just recognizing, like, I'm experiencing numbness. I'm disassociated. I don't feel my life force energy running through my body. And then the gift, once you accept it, once you just, okay, I'm here, I embrace it, I love on it. Because that entropy is also where that you're kind of releasing that rocket fuel in your life. And I can speak very much to this because in that season of numbness and entropy, I took back all my, like, I basically canceled everything in my life. Everything was gone. Everything that I was giving my energy to, I just was like, I can't. No one gets my energy. Nothing gets my energy except for me and my soul. And I went within and I allowed and I sat in that entropy, in that boredom, in that numbness, in that darkness, in that void, in that melancholy. And one of the beautiful things I learned during that season is even reflecting back in my life, almost every time right before I sprouted or burst or my flowers bloomed, if you will, it was always after a very season of feeling numb and really looking at my life and changing a lot of things in my life. And so the gift of this gate, of gate one of creativity, is freshness. And so freshness isn't newness necessarily. Freshness is taking things and maybe mixing elements A good example, an easy example, if you will, is even going into your closet, and maybe you have the same old things, but you start adding freshness of mixing different elements from your closet together to make something fresh and unique and different than you normally would have done. Or using that creative skill of yours, that creative energy of yours, to add freshness to a project, to add life force energy into the things that you're causing and creating and building. And so then we step into this place of beauty. And I almost like to see it's like you're so creative, you're so into this flow of adding freshness that you just start to see the beauty in everything. And so this gate is highly, 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 highly creative. Perhaps one of the most creative gates in the whole human design chart. You have to use your creative energy, and also know that part of that creative cycle has a little bit of that melancholy state and that entropy season that you're going to go through, because that's when you're planting your seeds. That's when your roots are taking ground. That's when you grow in that darkness behind the scenes before you sprout out and have freshness before spring. It's a really deep dive and need to like express yourself, and to express yourself in a different and unique way. These are the types of people that want to be unique. They want to stand out. If you're into enneagrams, I would say like this is the equivalent of a 4, right? They're the artists. They're the rebel with a cause. They're the people who dress themselves very uniquely and differently than other people because they want to stand out. They want to be different. They want to be seen as creative. They want to be seen as a rare commodity. And this isn't about like being the best, most creative person. It's more about being the first, the pioneer, the path paver of saying like, oh, that's a cool way of doing it, but I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use what I learned here and I'm going to mix it with all these other things that I really love. And you're going to see this on what I'm really launching with this journey of navigation and going through the gates. Is I have a little bit of a different approach to these gates and the names that I give these gates. You're really creative just for creative sake. Like you just want to do it differently. You just want to inject that freshness. You want to do it your own unique way. And that's what's going to give you that fulfillment, that satisfaction, that drive, that joy, that pleasure, that passion. It's an internal flame that you get to cultivate. And really, if you have this gate energy, I mean, look at your planet placement. That's going to give you a clue of how that really expresses and manifests into your life. You can also take a look at the line expression. So for me, I have 1.3 for this gate in my conscious sun. So I am here as that line 3. This really expresses itself outwardly through play, discovery, experimenting. I will try to be creative on everything that I touch. That's just who I am. That's how I show up. And it's funny because before I even knew about human design, I literally would say, even like on my resumes, like, or, you know, in interviews with potential companies that I was going to work with, that number one aspect, number one strength, I'm creative. And when I was in interview processes, even, I was like, I don't want to just submit like a blank resume. I was one of those first people that created like a more visual resume. Now it's like everybody does it, right? Everybody creates their resume on Canva. But before that, I had Photoshop and I created like a really pretty resume and even a cover letter. I didn't want to write out, you know, everything about me. I wanted to show. and have pictures and things. And even when I went into an interview for a tech startup, it was one of my first tech startups. I really wanted the job. I really wanted to get into it. I created like a little manual playbook, and I literally like brought it in with me to the interview process. And they were blown away because no one else was coming to interviews with already like a plan in hand. And so that's the way kind of this, it's not always about being like artistic. You don't have to be a painter. You don't have to be, into ceramics. You don't have to be into arts and crafts. Creativity is about really coming up with fresh solutions to old ways of doing things. And so this can show up and manifest in a multitude of ways. But it's even like with my own family, with like the traditions that we have in our household. I mix both my husband and I's like traditions that we have when we were growing up with like new freshness, because I want my kids to, yeah, still experience some of that magic that I did as a kid, but I also have like new ways that I want to have them experience those traditions and those things that we hold near and dear to our family. This isn't really about financial gain for your creativity, but you will get financial gain because you're just so creative, because you're the first, because you're creating new, unique things that really the world has never seen before. And you're doing it in such a different way that you stand out, because nothing's like it on the market. It's like even the way that I do human design is so different than a lot of the other readers. I don't want to do it the same way. I want to stand out. I want to be different. And for me, I'm really into the gates and the gate energy and tapping into your soul gifts. So that's what I want to focus, and I want to bring that alive, and I want to mix in the gene keys with the human design gates, and I want to create my own archetypes, and that's different. It's also about really pushing boundaries. You hate rules. You're probably one of those people that you can't stand anything super rigid. You don't want anyone to tell you what to do. You don't want to do it the way someone told you to do it. And you're going to really be one of those people who pushes the boundaries and says, well, why do we have to do it that way? I want to do it my way. I want to do it my own unique way. And you're really like good at repurposing stuff and like creating new forms using old materials. You're kind of one of those people that will see the beauty of the scraps in the heap pile and be like, oh, I could use that. You should never, 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 never underestimate the fact that you can create something new. You're very self-motivated. You really want and need, it's like in your DNA to create freshness and beauty in the world. And so you will start to feel empowered when you start to tune in to that creative flame and that creative energy. And one of the key pieces, again, is going back to like when you do feel that melancholy or that void coming on or that entropy, can you maybe reframe that? And instead of staying stuck and avoiding it and being like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to handle this, I just want to create, but that creative spark isn't there, because what it's doing is it's kind of pulling back all your power, like we talked about. It's pulling back your energy, pulling back your creative energy, all the things that you've been working on, and you're decomposing and like regenerating inside, viscerally in your body, to then sprout up and create something new again. And so the more that you can just really trust your own creative process and how that looks and feels like for you in your body, in your life, and you really just take ownership of your own self soul authority, you can really then like empower other people to follow their own creative spark and expression and to really live their life full out and stop playing small. And that's really what I feel like I'm here to do, is just by being my own unique creative self, I just empower other people to do the same, because they're like, oh, well, she can do that. She's not scared to do that. She's not scared to put that out there. She's not scared to fail. She's not scared to flop. And each one of us has this such like a unique way of being and using our energy. And so if you have this energy, tune into your creativity, trust it, empower yourself, create even like a ritual or practice around creating. So for me, I'm a sacral generator, and I really tune into my rituals and practices and make sure that it's continuing to feel good. But I have 2 hours dedicated every single day to create content or to create graphics or to record a video. It doesn't matter what it is, but I kind of tune into like what the daily vibe is. I also have like a schedule, a loose schedule, because I don't like rules and rigidity. But having that practice every day creates this like fun funnel for my creative energy to be used and expressed. So that kind of concludes gate one for today. We're going to be diving into gate 2 next week, which is actually the programming partner for gate 1. There's certain gates that go together and they help each other. They're called channels. We're not going to dive too deep into channels just yet here on the podcast, but if you head over to my Instagram, there will be posts about that channel this week. I am so grateful you are here. This is so fun to talk about these gates. It's something that I love. I love diving into these. I love archetypes. And so if that's something that you are into too, then I highly recommend getting a Vision Quest intuitive human design reading with me. If you're completely new to human design, I also have a free reading that you can pull on my website. You'll just need your birth date, time, and location. But if you're not following me already, go check me out on Instagram and TikTok at The Rebel Soul Journey. I'm also on Pinterest, same name. But thank you, beautiful soul. It is a pleasure to speak with you all. And I just hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week.